Welcome back to Takeout, continuing our conversation with top Trump White House trade advisor Peter Navarro. So there are lots of fangled and newfangled words in the trade world. De minimis is one of them.
Yes.
Let's break it down. What it means is, in this context, packages shipped into America, $800 or less, were exempted from any tariff. Now, as of August 29th, they will not be. Small businesses care about this because they do some of their business that way. If you're a Etsy, eBay, things like that. Why is this a good idea? Why will this not harm small businesses in the country?
It's just a huge win for the American people.
Why?
You had a situation, every country in the world, okay, if they have a de minimis thing, it's like $10 or $20, whatever. Ours in America got way out of hand. It went all the way up to $800. And there's all sorts of fraud.
In other words.
That's way too generous. And what this will do is basically protect all the manufacturers and the jobs they're in who make the kind of stuff that's now coming in free of tariffs. The reason why we put tariffs on products from countries is because they cheat, full stop, okay? And when they cheat, products come in, they steal our jobs, they shut down our factories, wages go down. So the logic of tariffs is to stop that. But when you provide this giant loophole, I mean, this loophole is the biggest loophole in trade law because it's like $800. You close that. This is literally going to mean a couple of $100 billion additional in revenues collected over the next few years. And you know, how many schools can you build with that? How many roads can you build? How much debt can you reduce? So this is a great thing for America. And the beauty of this is, I mean, the critique of tariffs on the day I got here in the first term was it's going to create inflation. Consumers going to pay. We've seen no sign of that at all. None. Inflation. And the reason is because they eat it. The foreign countries eat it.
They're all eating it because they need access to our market.
That's right. Exactly right. And there's economic theory on that. It's like when you're the biggest country in the market. So they might not be able to eat
30% or 50%, but they can eat 15% and basically keep things as they were or just slightly more expensive.
The rule is the bigger the trade deficit that we have with a country, the more they can eat, okay? Because they're feasting on us.
And you're testing that right now.
They're feasting on us. And all we're asking them to do is eat a normal meal instead of that feast.
Talk to me about copper. 50% tariff on copper. This is semi-finished copper and copper-intensive derivative products. That touches a lot of things that flows through our economy. Why do we need 50% tariffs on copper?
Here's the deal, Major. This is a highly strategic, critical mineral, particularly in an age of AI. Okay, we're going to, in order to benefit from artificial intelligence, we're building all sorts of new kind of things to service that, whether it's the power plants or whether it's the data centers and everything in between. We need copper. Now, we used to be an exporter of copper, but this is yet another example, and I could literally sit here and give you about 30 of them, of how China has used unfair trade practices to commandeer a critical part of our economy.
Hollow it out.
What they do is they dump the products into our markets below cost, drive our folks out. And they have the advantage where if we want mines, and say in Arizona, we have really cumbersome regulations and things like that. Very hard to get mines built. They come in and they just wipe us out. What this executive order will do was completely revive our copper industry. We have plenty of copper here to meet our entire domestic demand. So this is a really important
way of incentivizing a renewed production and exploration.
And what we learned from pharmaceuticals in the pandemic, and what is that we're vulnerable. What we learned just recently with rare earths and the magnets, which are a critical part of Apple phones and autos and everything in between, is that when other countries like China have the capability to withhold that supply, they can engage in coercion of us. So with this copper thing, We're going to see an EO on 232s coming out on pharmaceuticals. That one's moving down the road. We've already done autos. We've done steel. We've done aluminum. All of these things to make America great again. That's the purpose. And this copper one's really important.
Quickly, what's coming ahead for Mexico and Canada? Because both have unresolved trade disputes with the president. Some of it is exempted because of the USMCA, but there's still things unresolved, and the Canadians and the Mexicans still keep saying publicly they're trying to get things resolved. What's the timeline? Yeah. What's the expectation?
That's a good question. And there's negotiations ongoing on a daily basis with Jameson Greer, the USTR, Howard Lutnick at the Department of Commerce. Scott Besson, depending on the country, gets involved as well. My role in all of this is to do the analytics behind to see kind of what the best deal would look like based on the specific country. So what I can tell you here is our problem with Canada is that as much as we love the Canadians and as friendly as they are, their government has really been sticking it to us for decades. And one of the big problems, for example, is lumber. Okay, all of our lumber is private. Okay, private lands, private companies, this, that, and the other thing. We're having to compete with Canada Inc. All of their lumber is on public lands, and what they do—
They're more subsidized.
More heavily subsidized, and what they do is they dump into our markets, they shut our mills down, they shut our farm. It's just— so that's a real hot button, but there's other things. There's some farm products like dairy that they stick it to us, and they are just so arrogant when it comes to dealing with them. And they're like, they learn the lesson. You better not retaliate against the United States.
And quickly, Mexico.
Mexico, boy, that one, we have just a huge trade deficit with them. There's just a lot of things we got to work through, but we're working through them. Let's see what happens.
And you'll come back and explain when we know the details.
I love being here. I wore a tie for the occasion, but apparently that was the wrong thing to do.
Not necessary. Peter Navarro will have you back.
Yes,
I appreciate it. Thank you very much for your time. Yeah.